Hi, it's Jay, and yeah, my project has come to an end now, pretty much. Day 100 was a few days ago, and I thought I'd take time just to, go through a few things that maybe I missed or didn't get around to talking about during the whole process. So yeah, we'll start with yeah, basically why I did this. So the reason why I decided to do this project was I saw a video of some guy sweet picking on the internet. He couldn't sweet pick, and from after 100 days, he did this challenge called Give It 100, where he basically practiced sweet picking for 100 days, and by the time it came around to day 100, he was super proficient at the technique. Now, I found it very, very inspiring to see somebody do this in such a short time. And me myself, recently, in recent times, I've been kind of procrastinating a lot. I haven't really done much in terms of writing music or playing music. I mean, I played the odd cover gig here or there, or jam with some people now and then. But I'm not playing in any band at the moment, and I just kind of like lost a little drive to do stuff, and I just kind of found myself, playing with bands. It's great and everything, but just nothing really coming out of it. Not feeling inspired to do, or being pushed really. Just not being pushed. So I decided to take on this project of writing an album 100 days. I thought, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe it's achievable, and luckily it was. I finished the project within 100 days, right down to the last second, where I recorded the last solo, maybe like 2 minutes before. It got to the stage where actually last solo I couldn't, I didn't write anything. I basically improvised it. I was improvising for quite a few minutes, and I was just like, okay, look, it's now or never. Basically, I've got 5-10 minutes left before the deadline. So I just basically played like about, I think I took about 20 takes of the solo, and then just picked the best one at the end. Yeah, that was basically why I did this. Okay, so writing process. Um, yeah, normally the way I would write music, I would maybe hear something in my head, or I might be messing around with guitar and come up with a riff or something like that. Or it could be jamming with some people in a room, and some ideas come out of it. Um, that's the way I've been used to writing, um, without any sort of pressure as to any time pressure or time constraint. Now, when I look back at the last record I released, it was really with my band Mahavira. I would say. I mean, I've released some stuff with some other bands, but where I've actually been, kind of one of the main people in the whole writing process. I would say it's Mahavira, and we released an EP, which was like 4 tracks. Now, before we decided to record those 4 tracks, we had written about 6 or 7 tracks, which were possible candidates for that particular CD. Now, the whole writing process, I have it recorded basically from the first demo in the rehearsal room up until the finished product, and yeah, it took a lot. It took a long time. I mean, and thinking about it also. Um, from the time we started writing tracks, think the first track that we kind of wrote was New Contusions. The riff of that was the first thing that came out, and I remember rehearsing, in the studio, other tracks, and it's like, okay, let's write some new stuff. Oh, look, I came up with this new riff. I was messing around with the tuning on my guitar, and I came up with this new riff, and then basically I can see the whole progression. After a few months, basically we rehearsed maybe once, twice a week, kept writing this song over and over and over again, different variations, So we had a lot of time to practice and have all these riffs ingrained into our muscle memory and things like that. And yeah, so the whole process basically took a year. So we wrote the whole song within a year, and then we went into the studio and recorded all the tracks within the 4 tracks that we, out the 6 or 7 or whatever it was, recorded those 4 tracks within a couple of days. But we had been practicing for a whole year all the parts to these songs. And now the one thing about this writing process, that I've been through now, is that like I had after about 3 or 4 weeks 16 ideas. 2 of the ideas, which made it to the album, Kaleidoscope and A Mother's Love, I started working out those a few weeks before starting this project. I had actually jammed them with a couple of friends before as well. And the thing is that I didn't have a whole year to kind of develop the songs. So after 3 weeks I had 16 ideas, and I basically kind of whittled it down to what ideas I thought would kind of sound better together, be more coherent on an album together, and also just to see basically those tunes that I thought that were going to be okay. This is gonna whatever my writing muse is, this is coming to me a lot quicker than the other ones. Because there was one other track that I was thinking of, adding an 8th track to the album, and I was like, really trying my best, but at the end of the day, you can't force these things. I mean, you can finish it off, but I wanted to have something, a good sounding track at the end of the day. Now, one of the hiccups that I did kind of experience was that I'd given myself a kind of time frame on how I was going to do things, and a kind of schedule of of how I was going to manage my time. And what happened was I wanted to record live drums on the record, and I have a friend who played the drums on the record and plays absolutely fantastic. Now, I had planned that I wouldn't record drums for like maybe 3 weeks after we actually recorded the drums. So what happened was I was kind of forced to finish off and structure the songs. I was pushed to do that. So I didn't really have time to think, oh, okay, now I should develop this like this, and the structure of this should go like that, and should go like this. It was basically, okay, now I've got a week to fix, guide tracks for the songs. What's the best kind of structure I can get out of it? And just, settle on that, as opposed to, take the risk as well of settling on it and hoping that, it would become a great song. And I'm actually, to be honest with you, I'm very, very happy with how all the songs turned out, from that perspective. So yeah, that was basically the writing process. The writing process was basically, there was a lot of creativity in the beginning, and then towards the end it got very stressful, and it was basically, I got to push out as much stuff as I can. In terms of concept, I didn't really have one when I started. It was kind of just like, oh, let's just write some riffs and see where we go and such. And then what ended up happening was I started thinking back through experiences that I've had in the last couple of years. In the last few years, my lifestyle has changed quite a lot compared to how it was before. And I've been on a journey where I've been meeting a lot of new people and hanging out and talking and taking on new hobbies and all kinds of things. So I just kind of thought to myself, well, let's just kind of write from those experiences, let the music come out. Like, maybe I'll just think of a specific moment or a specific time, or maybe it was like we were at a festival or something, with some friends, and just think about the whole kind of vibe of that. Maybe I can put that into a track. And that's basically what came out. So the whole concept of the record is just basically thinking about experiences that I've had in the last couple of years. when I had these ideas of the songs, kind of like just the basic ideas written, what ended up happening was, as opposed to kind of thinking, okay, well, I have to play like this or I have to play like that, I let the song steer me, basically. I played what I thought was the best part to fit the song. So I wasn't basically going, okay, well, my name's Jay Matherin, I'm a rock guitar player, so I have to play in this specific style. Or, a lot of people know me as like a progressive rock player or a metal guitarist. Um, you know, I didn't want to basically kind of pigeonhole myself into any one genre. I was just like, I'm going to play what I think serves the song. And, that's kind of where what took the writing process up to the next level, really. Because once I had all the so-called backing tracks done, then it was time to write melodies and things. And, in the beginning it was kind of like, oh, well, I'm not sure which direction we're going to take here. And then after, messing around with some of the tracks and, I got some guest artists to play on the tracks, it almost became, the record started to take on this kind of instrumental guitar form, basically. It turned into like an instrumental guitar record, basically, as you will hear. And so I wasn't kind of in the beginning thinking, oh, I'm going to write this kind of melody on this track and this kind of melody on that track. But what happened was it just kind of organically flowed into this, organically took shape into this instrumental guitar record. And when I started to jam melodies and things like that, I just picked what I thought was the best melody that served the song in the best way. Not necessarily thinking about my style of playing or, thinking about other influences either, I just kind of felt, this is how the song sounds, this melody, this contour is going to fit this, the best possible way. So, after 100 days, am I happy with the result? Well, I gotta say, I got a lot done. There's some things I'm not so happy about, and other things that, I'm ecstatic about. All I can say is that the expectation that I had for this record was kind of like open. I didn't really have any expectations towards the style or anything like that. And the way a lot of the songs have gone, I've been quite surprised, actually, how they ended up turning out. Because a lot of them, I could see like a kind of progression or where they were going, and then all of a sudden it's like, just quickly took this turn around another corner, and the whole kind of CD sounds completely different to where I thought it was going, like around day 50. So I'm very positive about it, even though there's some things I would like to change or spend more time to do. But yeah, overall I'm quite happy with the result. Now it's just waiting to get the the mastered version back, and hopefully we'll have a product which is some music which is just fantastic to listen to, and hopefully you guys out there will dig it too. What would I do differently? Well, what I would probably do differently is I would probably take time out from work. If I was to do an album in 100 days next time, I'd probably have time to produce and edit and mix and master as well, all in with 100 days, and write everything from scratch if I didn't have to work full time. Because a lot of my time, the time that I did have to record and things like that, it was like maybe an hour or half an hour here or there. So it'd be like I would go to work, and say if I was working night shift, I would go to work, I'd come back about 7 or 8 o'clock the next morning, I'd turn on the laptop, completely shattered, but I was just so stressed that I wouldn't have enough time to do everything. So I was just like, I'm just gonna have to go through, forget about sleep right now. let's just get stuck in and do some work. So I turn on the laptop and I work for like maybe an hour, 2 hours, depending on when my next shift would start. Recording some stuff, turn off everything, go to bed, wake up, turn on everything, playing a little bit more, some more ideas, and then turn it off and then go to work. And that's pretty much how everything was for pretty much most of this project. At the beginning of the project, I was working another job as a music teacher, where I had some extra time to spend in the beginning, which was really, really good actually, because if I didn't have that time, I don't think I would have had as many ideas, and I wouldn't have experimented as much as I did do with some of these ideas that I did have. So what I would do definitely, not quit my job, but take a break, take like a 4-week, 100 days holiday or whatever to get everything done. Another thing I would probably do differently is I would probably hire an engineer or somebody else, or just get a friend to come in. So when I'm doing all the recording, I have somebody else's opinion there to basically, tell me, okay, well that wasn't good enough, or this was a good take, or things like that. Just because when you spend so much time by yourself doing these things, you kind of get into your own kind of bubble, and you don't really have any kind of you do feel objective, and you do feel like critical of yourself, but it's not the same as when you have somebody else from the outside looking in and saying, well, you could do this like a little bit better, you could hold that note longer, you could produce a better tone, take another take, and instead of playing that note, maybe you should slide up here, or things like this. It's great using your own judgment on how things sound, but it's always great to have another pair of ears to listen to stuff. So that's probably the two things I would do differently. Yeah, so one of the hardest parts of this whole project was documenting things. I tried to, my plan from the beginning was to record like a vlog every day and upload it every day. And then towards the end, when my work schedule started getting really tight and the deadline was coming in, it was very difficult because in the beginning it was like, okay, well, if I do this and that, if I script everything and edit it, it's only going to take this amount of time. And then I decided, well, it took a lot longer time than if I just basically spoke into the camera and just left it as it was, just let me be my true self, bumbling with bad grammar and everything. So that's what I did. And it still took quite a long time to upload the videos. And then as we got towards the end of the project, after kind of day 60, it was getting very, very difficult, because the time that I would normally spend making a video and then putting it on the computer and uploading it and all that kind of stuff, it took a couple hours to do. Those were 2 hours that I could use to record or to improvise over a part. So the uploads became a little bit more sporadic. So, but I think the whole kind of actual process of documenting this was kind of a good thing. I didn't document everything, I just kind of gave like, oh, what I did today, I didn't really kind of get into nitty gritty of everything and show you everything. But I kind of thought, one of the worst things in the world is listening to somebody practice, and what should I do? I upload a video of me practicing for half an hour. You get to hear like really bad notes, or you hear me playing the same lick over and over and over again to kind of program it into my muscle memory. And quite a lot of people don't want to see that, so that's where we're at with that. So the emotional side of things. Well, in the beginning of this, I was quite, I'm not a depressive person, but I've been quite low in my lifetime, and I was kind of low at the beginning of starting this project, and I thought this project would help me, get back into making music again, and stop procrastinating, because it's so easy to procrastinate nowadays, Before it's like my procrastination was basically sitting down and listening to an album. Now my procrastination is, you know, I could do whatever. I've got the world in my fingertips on this thing, you know. Can sit there reading books or watching tutorials or you name it. So anyway, throughout the process, it was quite positive. When I got to day 50, I started to get like a bit stressed out. And what I was getting stressed out about was basically, you know, if I had time to do all of the tracks that I had planned on doing. So what I eventually did was I whittled it down to 7 songs. And then even with those 7 songs, I was kind of like getting, you know, towards the end of the project. And I was just like, well, did I pick the right songs? You know, are these the right songs for the project? Do they represent the project best? Do they represent me best? You know, what happens if people don't like them? And then, you know, my mind started kind of overthinking things. I'm playing this whole game, and then, you know, 2 weeks before the deadline, I was kind of like thinking to myself, you know, maybe I should just, you know, stop the whole thing. You know, okay, I'll finish the 100 days and then I'll just put it to ice and I won't release it. I won't do anything with it. You know, I'll just leave it as it is, and you know, because I don't want to put it out there. I don't know if I'm 100% behind this. And I just really started to doubt myself as a musician, my guitar playing, my composition, everything. And then just thought to myself, well, you know, the whole reason why I play music, why is that? The whole reason why I play music is because it's fun. I love, you know, listening to music as well. Listening and playing is so much fun. And it shouldn't be a stressful process. And, you know, at the end of the day, I thought to myself, okay, well, if I release this album, you know, and I'm not 100% behind it, and I think I could do a lot better at everything. It's still something I've done. It's a milestone, you know. There's so many people that I know, and just, you know, I'm not going to say any names here, but you know, I've you know, I know some high profile musicians that, for example, their first or second album, they rewrote it like about 50 times within the space of like 2 or 3 years, or even longer. I know one guy, and well, I don't know him really. How do you say? You know, I knew him back in the day, and the thing is that you know, that first album, that it took like a good 7-8 years before he was ready to release it, because he just faffed around all the time, you know. And sure, it was a great record when it was released, and it sounded awesome and everything. But the thing is that, you know, nothing's gonna wait for it. You know, I kind of felt like, oh, maybe I'm not ready for this. Maybe this is not the time, because I haven't been really playing in the recent time. I haven't been playing that much, and my technique and my chops are a little bit sloppy, and you know, maybe it's not the right time to do it. Maybe I should, you know, practice for a year first and then do it. And then I just thought to myself, well, I started the project, I should finish the project. If the outcome of the project is not what I want, and I put it in public, I get slated for it, and everything that happens in the world, at least I've done it, you know? I've spent my time to do something. And then I can go on and, you know, it's a spur to make me go on to do the next project. And if I do get bad criticism for it, or whatever, you know, I can just remember, you know, I did this from scratch within 100 days while working full time, and the next time I do something, I'll give myself more time to do it, and you know, it'll give me like a kind of you know, some sort of point to bounce off of, basically. So when it does come to the next project, I'll know what the shortcomings are, what I need to work on, what I need to do to make it better than this project. So that's kind of my thoughts. I kind of rambled on a little bit there, but hopefully you kind of get the idea behind what I'm trying to get at. Yeah. So one thing that helped me throughout this whole kind of process was my friends. Yeah, I spoke to quite a few friends. One of my close friends, Lloyd, and my friend Kaffe as well, who recorded all the drums on this thing. we were kind of chatting quite regularly about stuff, and another friend as well, Andre, from the Ever Living. Around kind of same time, they were going into the studio to record their first album. So we chatted a little bit. I think around the middle of my process, just before they went underground for a few weeks to record and everything for their debut. And it helped quite a lot to have that support from your friends, you know. Yeah, so it was great because I had some people, you know, to just kind of you know, talk about some stuff with, and you know, ideas and all those kind of things, you know. And you know, there was like towards the end of the last day, I was sitting there, I was just like, I can't find a melody for this song, it's just not happening. I've been through this like for weeks and there's just nothing coming out. And I sent off the track to Lloyd, and I was just like, do you think this really needs a melody? And I came back and I was hoping he would say, no, it doesn't. It's fine as it is. Just leave it. Carry on. And yeah, he didn't say that. So here I am, like about 2-3 hours before the deadline, and I sent off this track, hoping, you know, to get some sort of, you know, confirmation that I didn't need a melody on this song. And here's my friend going, no, you need some sort of melody, but you know, you only need 1 or 2 notes. So 1 or 2 notes. Okay, so I just started messing around a little bit, and then I came up with a melody that was a little bit more than 1 or 2 notes, and it sounded great, you know, in the last kind of few minutes. And it was all because I got to speak with my friend. If I didn't have that support, I would probably be ripping my hair out, running around the house, freaking out, you know, what I was to do next. How has this affected my life in the last kind of 100 days? Well, basically, I haven't slept much. I have to say, anytime I don't have to do anything, I just basically pass out asleep, which because I've you know, I've been staying awake as much as possible, just trying to get things done, you know, and think about ideas and all kinds of things. One area that has been affected, you know, a lot is my health and fitness, because I've been spending all my time kind of stressed out, or not necessarily stressed out, but working on this record. I haven't had much time to, you know, enjoy, you know, exercising and stuff, and I haven't had any time to really do that, or I haven't made time to do that, basically because I didn't have much time. And the only time I did have, I wanted to put into this. And because all the spare time I had, I've been eating like shit. So, you know, I'm not feeling very good in myself. I'm normally, you know, I'm normally quite a clean living type person. I generally eat very clean and everything. And it's affected me quite a lot because I've been living off coffee and junk food, lots of sugary stuff, and you know, my brain isn't functioning like, and my body isn't functioning like I would want it to. So that's affected me quite a bit. In terms of my relationship at home and stuff, it's been alright. I just there's been times where it's like, yeah, I want to do something with my wife, go out and do something together, but it's been difficult to find time to do those things because any spare time I had, I wanted to spend recording or writing something. So in conclusion, would I recommend somebody to do this project? Yes, of course I would recommend you to do this project. If you know, it's gonna spur you on to do something creative and you know, just kind of give you a shock to your system as well. I mean, to have the time constraint to do this, it was very good because you're set on a goal, you know, and to get everything done within that time frame. So you know, you have your end date and you're just basically working towards it the whole time, as opposed to working aimlessly. Like I said before, you know, it wasn't necessarily aimless where I've been in bands before, but it's always been the case where it's like, okay, we're going to write some songs in the studio, we'll jam those songs, we'll go out and gig, and then, oh, we're ready to record now. and the whole process takes like about a year and a half. You know, if you're, depending on what type of band it is, if you're just a pop band, then probably a couple of months. But you know, if you're playing like I used to, progressive metal or progressive rock music, it takes quite a while to compose stuff, and yeah, and to get it out there. So I would recommend this, doing this kind of thing to anybody, you know. And now you know, I've got an album under my belt, which will be released quite shortly. I'm aiming to release it on the 23rd of August. And the only thing I have left to do now is I'm waiting for the mix and mastering to come back. All the files I sent off this weekend to Andreas, who also played trumpet solo. And yeah, when those come back and I've got the final mixes, then it's basically I'm just going to release everything on Bandcamp. And I'll probably upload to YouTube as well. I was considering Spotify as well, but after talking with a lot of people, I don't know if that platform is right for me. I think Bandcamp is a good platform for independent artists, and you know, I'm going to go with them and see where the experience takes me. Who knows? I might put it onto Spotify. We'll see if there's demand for it or whatever. I've got some artwork that needs to be done. I think I'm going to actually, the guy that did my logo, I'm going to get back in touch with him right after I record this and upload it, and see if he's available to do the artwork for this. We did discuss about doing it a few weeks back, so hopefully he's still got some time. Yeah, and the next upload I will make will basically be a press kit for the album. And hopefully, if all goes to plan, if I have some time, I'll do a playthrough for one of the songs. You know, little secret, the solo that Nelly Brosh did, she sent me a video clip of her playing it. So if all goes to plan, I'll put together like a little playthrough video there. Okay, so thank you very much for, you know, being with me on this journey. Those of you who've been watching and commenting, liking and stuff. And yeah, I hope you're gonna enjoy this record. You know, I hope I'm gonna enjoy the final product too. You know, at the end of the day, it's just it's a small snapshot. Like I said, the songs relate to experiences I've had over the last couple of years, and everything. You know, 5 of the songs are written completely from scratch, and 2 of the songs are written from a couple of ideas that I had a few weeks before starting the project. So. You know, that's it. Next project, I'm kind of, you know, basically going through some ideas of what I could do for next project, and I'm definitely going to keep this up with the writing and recording. I've got some tracks left over which I'm going to, you know, develop, but this time I will take my time with them. I won't, you know, basically push myself with a time limit. You know, maybe I'll say, okay, by the end of the year I should have this song written, and then maybe record them next year. Yeah, but we'll see how it goes. I'll definitely, like I said, I'll make a few more uploads, and obviously now I got my YouTube channel on the go. I might start to add some more material. You know, I was thinking, because I listen to a lot of music, doing like some album reviews or, you know, CD reviews and things like that. But I'll upload more details when the time comes, when I know what when I've decided what my next project will be. Okay, well, thanks again. Goodbye.